What's going on today, guys? I got a very special guest, second time guest, Gordo here from Play-Tessie, host of Play-Tessie, and he's on SNL. I see it on YouTube now. What's up, Gordo? How you doing, man?
Hey Joey, how's it going, my man?
Just getting ready for the off season. It was last time we talked, it was kind of I think the middle of the season. Red Sox were kind of struggling, but obviously it was a pretty productive year, I'd say. Just getting already into the off season, it's been a wild ride, I'd say. So, what are your kind of thoughts going into this off season? What do they need to do for next season to get to pass the wild card game and win a playoff series?
Yeah, I mean, last year was a big stepping stone year. Which going into the year, I mean, obviously, when they make the playoffs, you want more than what you got. But going into the year, that's all you really needed to see was a stepping stone year. And now, really, it's time to go. And there's a lot to do this offseason in terms of like they need some big time players, but it's not like they have a ton of spots to fill. Like I remember a few years ago, back when Heim Bloom was at the helm, and we went into an offseason, and he basically said we need 7 or 8 players. And it's like you hear that as a fan, it's like, oh my God, let's go, big changes. But actually, when they're acquiring 7 or 8 players, if you're going to fit 7 or 8 players in your budget, they're going to be low money guys. Now it's the Red Sox need 3 or 4 guys, and they've got the money to make things happen. They've got the prospect capital to make things happen. They've got depth on the big league roster that they can trade from to make things happen. So, yeah, I expect big things, but I got to tell you, today's trade with Sonny Gray was not necessarily in the list of items that I thought you would see them tackle, because I just don't necessarily see him as a number 2 starter, and I didn't necessarily think they needed more than that. And they said as such too. Breslow said, guys 3 through 10 we feel good about. So maybe they see him as a number 2, but remains to be seen from our end at
Yeah,
least.
yeah, I did look at his numbers, and obviously he's still a really good pitcher, but he's going into his age 36 season, so it's tough to say. Like in my opinion, like this past year, I would say definitely not a number two starter anymore. But obviously, like Cardinals have taken 20 million off. We only pay, I think it's a 1 year, $41 million deal, like for the most part, I'd say. But I mean, you don't lose that much. I mean, Richard Fitz really wasn't the same after the Angels start, and Brandon Clark, I don't know if he really wasn't going to find an opportunity. Like he's a good prospect, I'd say, but I think it's a good deal, but they definitely need to do more, for sure, in my opinion. What are your thoughts about like where are the Red Sox going with like third base and first base? I know everybody's you probably talked about this 100 times, with Bregman and Marcelo Meyer playing third, or Alonso, Tristan Cassis, just to name a few guys. What are your thoughts going into free agency deeper into the off season? Where are you thinking the Red Sox should go?
Well, I've been really outspoken about the fact that I think the Red Sox need to add 2 impact established bats, at least one of which you can pencil in for 30 bombs. Basically, I want to see them get Alex Bregman and Pete Alonso back, or Pete Alonso and Alex Bregman back. After the Sonny Gray trade, now it remains to be seen if that's going to be possible, because we don't know. Like, if they're acquiring another starting pitcher, I don't think that they're going to be able to get 2 big bats like that. They were already kind of downplaying the potential of getting 2 big bats like that. To me, you need to make sure that you end up with a 30 plus home run guy in the lineup. And to me, like, it sounds crazy to say, just because we spent all year, harping on Alex Bregman's intangibles and talking about how important he is to the group, and he is. But the lack of power on this Red Sox team after the Rafael Devers trade was striking. They were 23rd in home runs from the moment he was traded to the end of the year, and they hit 1 home run in the postseason. It just, you need home run power. And to me, I want to see them bring in 2 guys that also allows a path for Tristan Casas to earn his way into the lineup. So to me, if you get a guy who can play third base and a guy who can DH or play first, and Casas can either play first or DH, whatever, that allows you to keep all the necessary options open to maximize the ceiling of the roster, while also doing right by the fact that this team needs a 30 home run bat, and this team should not have to lose Alex Bregman's leadership. But we'll see, man. I feel like I'm asking a lot, considering I thought they needed a number two starter and two big bats, and I still, even after the Sonny Gray trade, think they need a number two starter and two big bats.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I mean, I think Bregman and Pete Alonso would be the dream off season for us, and either Freddie Peralta or Hunter Green. Um, those two guys I think would be huge for the Red Sox. I mean, I go Hunter Green for me just because he has more years of control. But what does Bregman bring to this team from what you've seen, like back in the back stages of like the Red Sox that like nobody really else sees? Like, what do you think him coming back brings to the Red Sox? Because I think he's like a big part of this team for the future, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you saw it last year from an on-field standpoint what he could do before the injury. He was the best player on the team before the injury, and then throughout the entirety of the season, whether he was playing well in the first half, not playing at all in the middle of the season, or playing not as well in the second half. I mean, he was the same dude every single day out there, and just a leader of men on this team. I mean, he was the undisputed focal point, the guy who sets the tone in that clubhouse, and it's an important role that the Red Sox really hadn't had since Xander Bogaerts left. And they wanted Rafael Devers to be that. He wasn't going to be that. Trevor Story was going to maybe take on that role a couple of years ago. He gets hurt. Ref Snyder's a leader on this team, but he doesn't play every day. It's hard to be that kind of leader if you're not playing every day. They needed, like, Jaron Duran tried to step up and be in that role, but in the end, he's basically, a kid playing this game too. They needed someone in that role last year. And it was remarkable to watch him step up and into that role as fast as he did. And it's not to say that it's irreplaceable, because Justin Turner became that guy and eventually they replaced him. But it's big shoes to fill, and there's a lot of kids on this roster, in this organization, kids coming, that have not fully acclimated themselves to the big leagues yet and could use that sense of leadership, that stable force, that guy who's been there, done that, been through the grind of a regular season, gotten through the postseason and won multiple championships. Like, that's not something you can get anywhere. And you have it in Alex Bregman, or at least you had it. And it would be in the Red Sox best interest, in my opinion, to not lose that, even if he's entering his age 32 season and you're scared about the declining production after the injury. I get it. But those intangibles, man, that's not something you can just snap your fingers and say, Pete Alonso can be that, because Pete Alonso hasn't won a World Series. You look at the Mets, and he, not to say he's not a leader, but he wasn't seen as one of their, like, it was like Lindor's the captain of that team, Nimmo's the captain of that team, Soto said, like, Alonso's one of those guys. Alex Bregman was the guy. So to me, you need Alonso's bat. You need what Alex Bregman brings on the field. You need what Alex Bregman brings off the field. Will they do it all? I have my doubts at this point, but to me, I would be, they really need him.
I completely agree with you. I think I'm not sure if it's more about the years for Bregman, or if it's about like like he probably wants, a 5 to 6 year contract, I would say. And then with Pete Alonso, do you think that he would fit, even as a DH, like just putting him as a designated hitter instead of like having him play first every day? Because we know his defense isn't great, and you already have Cassis. So like, where are your thoughts like on that? Would you say?
I think he'd be a good fit, because I mean, as high as Tristan Casas' ceiling is, we don't know who he is after.
Yeah.
It's a significant, the torn patella tendon. Like, guys don't always come back from that the same, and we don't know if he's going to be. I mean, they'll say he's going to be ready for opening day. It looks like he's on track, but I mean, we see it with injuries all the time. Guys have setbacks. We don't know. Is he going to be ready to play opening day? If he is ready, is he going to be ready to play every day? DH reps may be good for him. So maybe it's a Pete Alonso as your first baseman more often than not the first year. And, obviously you mentioned it right there. His defense doesn't grade out that well, even though he can pick it. It's just it's the range, it's the throwing. The throwing drives Mets fans insane. I have friends that are Mets fans, and him in the field drove them bananas. But with the Red Sox, I mean, to me, first base is about bombs, man. Like, I don't care if you are first percentile and
Yeah.
out average. Like, give me 30, 35 bombs and I'll put up with anything in the field. That's at first base, at least.
Yeah, I will say Pete Alonso used to work out at this facility I worked out in high school, and man, he was like humongous back then, and he's probably even bigger now. So like, yeah, he's gonna bring a lot to the table, I think, offensively for the Red Sox. This is probably the biggest signing, I think, power wise, since probably JD Martinez, I'd say, as a free agent. I would say he's right up there probably with him. I think that if they could do that, that'd be huge, of course. Yeah, I mean, another place I want to kind of get into is second base. Where are your thoughts at with that? Is Christian Campbell going to move over there? Are they going to put Marcelo back there if um Bregman comes back? Are they going to shift Story to second when if Bregman comes back and you move Marcelo to short? But I also heard at the winter meetings, Breslow said Story's our shortstop. So I kind of want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, it kind of seems like the one thing you can pencil into this infield right now is Story at short. Like third
Yeah.
base is open. Alex Bregman was there. I mean, Marcelo Meyer is gonna get a chance to start at least against right-handed pitching for this team. But if it's at second, if it's at third, beats me. It depends on what they do. If Alex Bregman's back, you'll get Marcelo at second. If Alex Bregman's not back, then we'll see what else they do. Like they'll be in the market for second base options, for third base options, and Marcelo can play wherever they don't get a guy. Uh, Christian Campbell, I still believe in him as a player. It kind of seems like they're leaning towards trying to keep him in left field for this year. They didn't commit to that, but
Yeah.
Breslow talked about how they thought that it could be good to keep him in one spot. And it kind of seemed like the outfield would be that spot. And that's what a lot of us were saying last year. He started to struggle and they just kept putting more and more on his plate. He was playing second, he was playing center, he was playing left, he was learning first. And it's like, we need to just make sure that this kid's bat is okay. And he was dealing with the rib thing too. And it's like, he's playing half the positions on the diamond. Like, let's get this kid settled as a hitter. And once he's fully there against big league pitching, then we can worry about the versatility. But you just extended this guy. You got to make sure that his bat is right because you extended him, you paid him so that he could hit. That's what he's always done. So I'm not ruling out Christian Campbell as a second baseman moving forward in terms of fit on the roster. I mean, they have 4 outfielders right now, not even counting him, that are all big league
Yeah.
above average players. So right now, he profiles best as a second baseman. Assuming they trade an outfielder, then he could start the season potentially in AAA. And the second an outfielder goes down, he's the first one you call on, and he has a chance to earn a job in the outfield from there, and maybe a chance to play second base if a guy comes back and he's still in the lineup. But he's got to earn it. Even though he got paid, he does have to earn his way back, and I think he will. It's just a matter of when, in my mind.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I feel like when they brought him up, he was really like you could tell he was playing well because he was at second every day, and then they just started going all over the place with his positions. And you're right, the rib just really messed up his swing. His exit velocities went down, all his metrics were down. Yeah, I mean he's definitely got a chance. I just think it's a kind of like a weird situation that the Red Sox are in with him. I'm not sure because they also said he might play a lot. Like you said, outfield is a big uh, opportunity for him to play at this coming, season and also playing winter ball. Cora talked about that as well. Um, kind of going off that with like outfield, like you talked about a little bit. Where are your thoughts at with now that we got an arm? I'd say. I mean, we don't know like if we're gonna get a number two. Do you think now that since we got Sonny Gray, is Duran, Abreu, are they still around? Like I know Cora talked about Abreu a lot on the pot on the section 10 saying he needs to hit lefties better and we're gonna really push him. Do you think that really steps Duran out the door, or do you think they both stay because of Sonny Gray coming in and the Red Sox are like, okay, he's the number two now?
I wouldn't rule out them all staying, but I still lean towards they'll end up trading one. I think the Red Sox going into the offseason had enough ammunition, both in terms of big league depth and prospect depth, to make one big swing in the trade market. And Sonny Gray is a big addition, but to me, like obviously, Brandon Clark and Richard Fitz are both good pitchers, but to me, it's more of a sizable addition on the luxury tax sheet, more so than the farm system. Like you didn't trade one of your outfielders, you didn't trade one of your top 6, 7, 8, 9 prospects to get Sonny. You still do have depth in the outfield. You still do have the password who's ready to make his big league, or he's ready to continue his big league
Yeah.
career. good enough, but that opportunity is not going to come here, at least long term. And you still got plenty of pitching depth. You've got plenty of prospect depth. You've got infielders in the system. Like there's plenty to work with, but it's probably one big swing. I do still think they trade an outfielder as part of that swing. What it's for, it beats me. Like there's more options on the starting pitcher trade market to me than the market for a bat on the trade market. But they've surprised me before. There's guys that have gotten moved that we didn't necessarily see getting moved before. And, you know, there's rumors about the Diamondbacks listening on Ketel Marte. I don't know how realistic that is now because he makes money too. So it'd be a similar trade to Sonny where it's like you're dealing prospects and you're taking on salary, and his is long-term salary. So I do think that an outfielder still gets traded. I lean towards it's still in a deal to get another pitcher. I think if I'm going to be disappointed by one thing this offseason, it's going to be that they only make one big swing for the bat. I think they leave the rotation in a good spot. But yeah, even though getting Sonny Gray, it's a trade, I still do think they have enough ammo to make another big one.
Yeah, I agree for sure. Since you said like there's obviously more options for starting pitching right now, do you think that they're going to lean towards getting a bat right now and then waiting to the end of the offseason to maybe go get an arm just because they already got one and they have so much like like you said, ammunition to get an arm. Like they have the password, they have Sandlin's still around, I think, and then they have Duran, Abreu. They still have a lot of good talent. Like Peyton Toley's still available. I know he's a good pitcher. He's our number one prospect, but a lot of people will look for him if we want to get like Freddie Peralta, Hunter Green. I mean, even Scooble, but I don't think that's a good option. But like I said, do you think that we're gonna have to go after a bat right now just because the pitching depth for free agency and trade talks is so much better, so much
I
bigger?
feel like I feel like the bat, hopefully the first of two, but for now we'll say the bat. I feel like the
Yeah,
bat is next on the list. The options are all there. It's right in front of you. And if I had to predict the way this offseason is going to go, I bet they make the plunge for Pete Alonso or Schwarber, one of those two. And then the rest of the offseason, they'll get a lefty reliever, but for the most part, the rest of the offseason will be all of us wondering, are they going to bring Alex Bregman back? Are they going to get a real number two? Because the Red Sox, the truth is, they now have a little bit more leverage as it pertains to trade negotiations for a number two. Because in theory, you could go into the season and claim Sonny Gray and Brian Bayo are your number 2 and 3 starters. I don't want to see them do that, but in trade talks, they can claim that they don't need a Joe Ryan. They don't need Freddie Peralta because, listen, we've got these guys in our rotation. I think that the rest of the offseason, after they get a big bat, is going to be sweating out that potential negotiation and sweating out a Bregman negotiation where the Red Sox are daring him to take the money elsewhere and not finish his career with the roster that they've got assembled, the organizational depth that they've got assembled. It's like, I dare you to take the money and leave Fenway Park. We'll give you an offer. It's not going to be what you want, but if you want to be here, if you want to win, if you want to have a Hall of Fame career, you can do it here. So if you value those things, you'll come back on our terms. That's how I feel like that negotiation is going to go.
Do you think Bregman's going to be more? It's going to be more about this is like the offer. We're not going to like counter it. We're not going to give you more. This is going to be like 6 years, 180, and we're done. And then if he takes it, he takes it. If he doesn't, he doesn't.
I think it'll be a lot less than that. I think they'll
Probably,
put
yeah.
maybe like a 5 years if they're feeling if they're feeling nice. Like I think I mean they didn't want to give him 6 years last year. And
Yeah.
the truth is, like, yes, they've seen how valuable he is. I get that. But they know they need power. And if they get a Pete Alonso in the door, then they're going to cry poor and say, we don't have any more money to spend. And it's like, if you want to take our 5-year 125, you can do it. But we invite you to take the 170 that the Tigers have on the table if it's there and make him make the decision. It's a scary game to play. It's like it's a similar
Yeah.
game to the one they played with JD Martinez going into 2018. It's like, we know your market isn't there. We've got this standing offer. If you don't take it, we will be okay. We've got a roster. But if you do take it, we'd be happy to have you.
Yeah, I could kind of agree with that a lot. I think that the Red Sox are really looking at Marcelo. I think defensively he's been really good, and also it's like he's younger too, so it's like the Red Sox don't need him, but if he comes back, like they'll completely love that.
Yeah.
But I also think like I don't know why he would leave. He also loved, the guys. He loved Fenway. He loved like guys like us talking about the Red Sox all the time. I think he really embraced it, like Lou Merlone said. But you're
Definitely.
right. It really just comes down to the price. I feel like it really does. I do think Pete Alonso will happen before that, before like Bregman. I think Bregman will take probably until almost beginning of spring training, like maybe a little bit before like the when the
Might be right.
players come in. But yeah, we'll see about him. I don't know. I'm not like 100%. I'm probably like 25% he comes back. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah,
Earlier
I
in the
would.
offseason, I had him as my like sure bet. Like out of everything that I think could happen, he'll return. But and I told myself I wasn't gonna go off that take, and I'm trying not to. But it is harder and harder to stay on it as the days go by, and then he'll come back, and I'll be pissed I ever said anything like this. I should
Yeah,
have just stayed
yeah.
on the take.
I'll see you at Fenway next year. Like, man, we shouldn't have said anything.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
always
man.
coming back.
Yeah, he's always good. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. What's your take for like, losing all the relievers? I know the pen was unbelievable last year, and I don't expect the same thing from Chapman. Whitlock, we'll see. Hopefully he's the same. I mean, he's a lot younger, but do you like, them getting rid of Murphy, Bernie? I forgot who else. They got rid of somebody else.
Guerrero,
Guerrero, yeah, he went to
Fitz too.
Tampa.
Fitz probably would have played a big role in that
Yeah.
bullpen at the end.
Yeah. Do you think that the bullpen, who do you think the Reds, like, I haven't really seen many left-handed relievers as like free agents. I think I saw a guy we DFA'd, Sean Newcomb, but that's about
Oh
it.
yeah,
I just don't know like what they're gonna, where do you think they're going with this, you know?
yeah. I mean they do have to bring in a lefty. I mean, first off, the guys that got traded. I mean, all just awesome guys. Like
Yeah.
losing Murphy and Bernardino in the span of an hour, like hurt my soul. And Fitz
Yeah.
is an awesome guy too. Like those guys were super good to us. It really does suck. Like the truth is, it's a life of a reliever, a pitcher in this game. Is these guys they go up and down in the majors, minors, and they'll get traded to teams that value them more. And it sucks, but it is the nature of the business. As for the reliever depth, I mean, they did just add a couple of new dudes to the 40 man that I'm sure could play roles out of the bullpen. Shane Drohan, Tyler Uberstein. I mean, I'm sure we'll see Perales come up at some point. I don't know if they're going to have him starting or as a reliever this year. Hopefully, if he's coming up this year, it's as a reliever because if he's starting, that means we've gone through a few guys. But
Yeah.
they do have a lot of depth, but it's guys that right now we see as starters, and eventually some of those guys are going to have to transition to being relievers, or they're going to have to get traded like Richard Fitz was. I think they'll add at least one lefty. Maybe they bring back one of Wilson or Matt's. That's how I'd go about it. But there's a few others on the market. Like I've always loved Danny Coulomb, who got traded from the Twins to the Rangers, and then his season kind of fell off the rails. But up until that point, he was untouchable. So I don't know. There are options. It's not going to be, in my opinion, I don't think it's going to be like a super big name game changing lefty. Like it'll probably be a 1 year deal for one of the better lefties on the market. But those guys aren't household names. It's a box that they have to check though.
Yeah. I agree. And then like kind of going to the starters, like who do you see not getting starts like that are really starters? Because it's like Crochet, Gray, Bayo. Is it Early and Dobbins or Cutter Crawford? And then I know I'm missing someone other than those six or seven. I mean, there's probably like is David Sandlin going to be a starter or a reliever? And then you like there's a lot of guys on this roster that are starters, like you said earlier, that have to become relievers, and most of them are righties. Would you say Dobbins and Cutter Crawford are fighting for the fifth spot or the fourth spot?
So it really is anybody's best guess. And honestly, it's even more up in the air now that they've added Sonny Gray, because to me, now that it opens the door for them potentially, instead of like you talk about the fourth and fifth spot that's open, if they get another pitcher, another like a number two starter, push Sonny Gray down, unless it involves trading Brian Bayo, which I suppose I wouldn't rule out. But like if it doesn't involve that, now it's everyone's fighting for one spot. I'd say to me, the guy that probably has the upper hand, at least right now, like it'll be his job to lose, is Patrick Sandoval. They paid him what was it, $18 million basically to
Yeah.
rehab last year and then to be under contract for this year. So that's not a small investment. They clearly saw something in him that they believe in, and they're going to try to unlock it now that he's healthy. So to me, you're paying that guy. He's going to have a good shot to earn that job. And then Connolly Early probably should have the inside track to the other one just because of what he did down the stretch and what he did against the Yankees in the playoffs. He pitched awesome in
Yeah,
game
he
3.
did.
The
He
game
was
didn't
great.
go his way. The defense screwed him, but he
Yep.
was great. And he earned it. And then at the same time, Cutter Crawford 2 years ago was really good, made 30 starts. Like you've got guys, and you've got this depth of guys even after Richard Fitz, where the door should, in theory, still be open to including one of these dudes in a trade. I didn't even mention Hunter Dobbins, Kyle Harrison. Like they've
Yeah.
got guys. Like
Yeah.
you bring
They're
up
all
David
young.
Sandlin, yeah, all young, all controllable. And a guy like Sandlin is so far down the totem pole, even though he's on the 40 man, that like, yeah, maybe he turns into a reliever. But like, yeah, they're gonna have arms to trade. And by midseason, like Perales is gonna be knocking on the door. You'll have other guys that like we talk about Kyson Witherspoon, who might start the season in
Yeah, that
double A.
guy. Yeah, the first round pick. That guy
Like
could. And
there's not enough
yeah,
spots for all these guys, even in the minors. So
no,
they're gonna have to
there's
make
nothing.
decisions.
They have to do something quick. I mean, I just don't like. That's why I'm like confused. Like the Witherspoon, Paralysis. Like I think Paralysis was up to like 101 in the Arizona Fall
Yeah.
League, and it's just like like where are you gonna put this guy? I just don't. I don't know. I think that they need to do something and do something like eventually because this is like too many pitchers. But at the same time, you're never gonna have as many because I mean, look at last year. We had guys lined up and they're already when they went down to the DL or IR so quickly and we lost. I mean, Giolito was out at the end of the year and Bayo was out the first month of the year, I think, last year. So it's like you always need to have arms, I think. So it's a good and bad thing, I'd say. Maybe not a bad
Always
thing,
got
but
to have at least 10, man. It's like,
yeah,
it's not a 5-man rotation. It's like
it's
10
10.
starters, and at least half of them better have minor league options. It is a tough line to
I mean,
tiptoe.
look at the Dodgers. I mean, they have like 12 starters and like half of them are relievers and half of them are injured.
And they went through all of them.
Yeah, they use them all. It's make crazy, man. I would say that's would you say that if the Red Sox, do you think I have a question just because like I've debated this a lot. Do you think if the Red Sox in game 2 if Darren Duran catches that ball and they send or no, that was game 3. If he catches that ball, do you think they win that game against the Yankees in game 2?
It's so hard to say, but what I will, the send, you were alluding to it, the Nate Eaton
Yeah.
non-send,
Yeah, I was
that was game 2 as well.
that was
If
okay.
those two things went the Red Sox way, they win that game.
I
Now,
really think so, man. I do.
and
I
they win the series, but can they get through? I don't think they had enough pitching to make it through a longer series. But beating the Yankees would have been like, oh, that would
oh
have been just so sweet to beat
yeah,
them
that
with
was
as little pitching as the Red Sox had. And I mean, they have Aaron Judge, and they got a team of vets, and the Red Sox are just a team of kids with like Alex Bregman and Trevor Story, like in the middle of
yeah.
that lineup. But everyone else around them, it's like
You're
their
like, who
first
are
time
these
in the
guys?
postseason. Yeah,
Yeah, like we had
would have
Nick
been great.
Sogard, like game 1, Nick Sogard freaking saved the season with a double. And then
Yeah.
Yoshida obviously had that, clutch hit, but if Sogard doesn't get on there, Yankees sweep us, I think. Like,
Probably, yeah.
Crochet was throwing his balls off and he just had no offense. And that's the thing, like you say about Alonso, we need that 40 home run guy. But
Yeah,
yeah,
especially to get through the postseason.
yeah, for sure. And then what do you think about Yoshida? What do you think about him? Where are they at with him? I'm kind of confused. I don't know what they're gonna do, and they need to get him off if they're gonna bring in Pete. Like if Pete's coming in, you got Cassis, you got Yoshida, are you like you can't bring all these guys in the line, put all these guys in the lineup.
Yeah, you're confused. I'm confused too, and I was confused going into last year, and in the end, it worked itself out because they traded Devers. This time around, if they want to bring in that Devers kind of bat, and obviously there's no replacing Rafael Devers, but if they want to bring in a
No.
power bat, like you could, in theory, if you brought in Pete Alonso, he could play first base, and you could tell Yoshida and Casas to deke it out in spring training, and maybe an injury makes the decision for you, or Casas isn't ready, or maybe one of them drastically outplays the other and earns the job. But at some point in time, like I just have a hard time seeing Masataka Yoshida, as good as he was at the end of last season, because he was maybe their best hitter in September in the
Yeah.
postseason. But I do have a hard time seeing him making it through 2 more years of his deal here. Now they're going to have to eat money if they want to offload the contract, because he's not worth $18 million a year, being a
Yeah.
DH only guy who doesn't have 30 homer power. But I mean, it's not inconceivable that he could open the season as the Red Sox starting DH. It could happen, but
Injuries
at
happen,
some
dude.
point in the next 2 years.
Yeah,
We'll see.
I don't think it's gonna happen. What? So do you think the Red Sox? I think in my all my friends that are Red Sox fans, they all say that they don't want Durant traded and everything. But do you? I'm on this with. I don't know if anybody else is, but I think Abreu is the guy that's gonna stay because I think that they value his defense and the value that if he doesn't get injured last year, he's gonna hit 30 home runs. And Corey even said it on the podcast, like if Abreu's healthy, we get 30 home runs from him, and he plays great defense. And I just don't think they value like they love Durant. I think they do, but it's like he's older. His defense isn't that good. He's unbelievable at getting on base and getting extra base hits, but it's like I just have this feeling because he's young, because Abreu's younger, and I want Durant to stay. Like this isn't like I don't believe that we should keep Abreu over Durant, but I really think that Breslow is more of a Abreu guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think Duran is the odd man out if you could pick the three guys to be your outfield, not just for 26, but for the next 3+ years. I think an outfield of Anthony, Rafaela, Abreu is the best defensive outfield in baseball, and they can hit the shit out of the ball too. But obviously, if you're in trade discussions to get like a Joe Ryan, and the Twins say, we won't do it with Duran, but we'll do it with Abreu, I don't know if that's going to stand in the way of you making or not making the deal. But in a nutshell, Abreu's the better defender. He hits more home runs on a team that's starved for home runs. Both he and Duran will strike out. Neither of them hits lefties well. Abreu's younger. Abreu has more control. Obviously, the defense is night and day. So to me, like, yeah, in a nutshell, Abreu should be the guy that you keep over Duran, but it will be interesting to see just how much that decision is actually in their control if they end up wanting to trade for a big piece on the market, because other teams are going to have their preferences too.
Oh yeah, 100%. I agree with that for sure. I just think I just have this gut feeling that they want Duran, like not gone, but he's the last guy like they're gonna, hold on to. Or he's the first guy they're gonna get rid of. But for last couple things I gotta say, Roman Anthony, a lot of people are saying that he's like Juan Soto. I see more Bryce Harper. I don't know why I see him as more of like but he's not like cocky. He's like a cool, calm, collective guy. And I just feel like that's his MLB comparison to me. I don't know if you agree or disagree with that.
It's hard to, because like the Soto comps come from the discipline. Like that's why he gets comped to Soto. But Roman, like, he obviously, no one is the hitter that Soto is. We as high as we all are on Roman Anthony, if he's Juan Soto the hitter, holy shit.
We're in.
But yeah, but he's a way better. Well, I shouldn't. Soto ran the bases really fucking well last year, but Roman Anthony is a
Yeah.
way better defender than Juan Soto. It's like if you took Juan Soto's plate discipline and Christian Yelich's like everything
Yeah,
else,
that's another
like
one. That's another one.
I
Yeah.
remember I talked to Roman was the first time I met him. He was playing for the Sea Dogs at the time, and I asked him who his favorite player was growing up, and he said Christian Yelich. And I was like, that's who everyone comps you to. He's like, yeah, I mean, I kind of made my game off him. Like that was my guy. And it's like, it's crazy because Yelich at his peak was unbelievable, MVP of the
Unbelievable.
league.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's not crazy to hope that Roman Anthony, when it's all said and done, puts together a better career than Yelich has. And that's a high bar, but he's capable of it.
I completely agree. I think I just remember watching Harper growing up, and he would like he went in against the Cubs. He went like 6 for 6 with 6 walks. And Roman Anthony just to me doesn't swing and miss. To me at least, especially like watching him face Johan Duran and hitting that base hit off 102 or whatever. Like just seeing him with that much plate discipline and being like a very stocky big guy and being able to throw guys out and his defense is great. So yeah, I completely agree with that. For sure, for
The
sure.
at bat against Paul Skeens and the
Yeah, I
Skeens
mean
Tolley
that's
game,
another one.
like
That's another one.
we all remember Peyton Tolley from that game because
Yeah.
obviously that was the story. But like Roman Anthony just casually taking Paul Skeens to the moon that night, crazy.
Oh man, yeah, that. It was a fun. It was crazy because like with the Sadon home run as well. Like that's another big moment. Like that and the Skeens homer. Like those two moments. Like that's what I'll remember from this past year, for
Yeah.
sure. What's your before I let you go? What are your predictions for next year heading into the season? What are you thinking for the Sox? You think they'll get past the wild card or
Oh
yeah?
yeah, I do. I think last year was the stepping stone, but really like the true window opens now. And obviously it's hard to make like actual predictions until we see what they do in the offseason here.
Oh
But
yeah,
I think that their heads are in the right place. I say it with caution because I didn't exactly love the move today was for Sonny Gray. Like I like Sonny Gray, but I just it sounds like they're aiming high. It's just how many shots are they going to take? And even if they do the bare minimum, I do think the guys that they have on the team already are are gonna take the next step. And I really do think Roman Anthony's about to be a superstar in this league. And I think the pitching is gonna be great this year. Even if they don't add another guy, like I do think that they've got guys that will step up and be mid rotation arms, and they have a lot of them. So there's a lot to be had this year. I think there's no reason why they can't win the AL East, but we'll have to reserve that until we see what they do the rest of
September.
the offseason.
Yeah, we'll see, man. Gordo, I really appreciate you hopping on, man. It's always a pleasure to talk to you about the Sox. Hopefully, I'll catch you at spring training if you head down. I'll get down there at Fort Myers. Hopefully, I'm in Tampa right now, but I'll try to get down there for the pitchers and catchers or whatever.
Hell yeah, Joey. Be well,
Yeah,
man.
man.
We'll keep
Always good.
posted when we're heading down.
Yeah, man. Let me know. All
Sounds
right,
good.
man.